Welcome to my kitchen. This is the simplest thing that you could ever make if you want to make a pastry. So many people already have the recipe for this pastry, but I've been asked time and time again, just show me at what stage you take it to. So I'm going to do that today. My sour cream pastry that's all about making it in a food processor. All because I have really hot hands, and so I have to pulse it only, and that is the trick. It is so adaptable. I use it for savoury, I use it for sweet without adding any sugar, because I always feel if it's a sweet tart, there's enough sweetness in the filling. So the thing about the pastry, it's got to be really buttery and rich and crisp. And so the very simple ingredients are plain flour, sour cream, 250 grams of flour, half a cup of sour cream to start. You may need more because every flour is different, the humidity in a kitchen is different, but the really important thing is this butter. 200 grams of butter, cubed up, well, sliced, you can even grate it actually. So it's super cold. And if you were doing this in the summer in the tropics, you'd even put the bowl with the flour in the fridge to be super cold. You'll always make the better pastry for that. So, to the food processor. This is the only tricky bit. Flour in, whoops. Butter, really chilled. Butter, I did slice it all up and then I refrigerated it again to have it as cold as possible. And I do the pulsing only till oops, is this away? Okay, I just pulse until I get like rough breadcrumbs. I still want to see the pieces of butter. So let me get my glasses to be sure I don't go too far. Okay, pulse. Okay, so I still want to be able to see the pieces of butter. So if I could show you, I'll put my hand in there and I'll show you. See, we still have, whoops, I lost that piece of butter. We still have pieces of butter there. And the butter was so chilled that it is still in tiniest little lumps. All right, now the sour cream. I'll put the whole of a half a cup in because I know that is the sort of baseline, if you like. Okay, flour everywhere, a little bit of mess, but pulsing again. What you want to do is just pulse till it comes together a little in the food processor. Now, it tells me straight away that I'll try one more pulse, but it's going to need a little bit more sour cream. It's not coming together yet, but I used half a cup, and it's not a light sour cream, by the way, it's proper sour cream. I'll use just one more spoonful and see how we go. It's amazing how flour is different every time. Okay, now I'm going to really push it till it comes together. Okay, you can hear it coming together. I can hear it coming together. Okay, here I can see I could go one step more and bring it one step more together. See how it's coming ball now? It's just one step short of a ball. If I go further till it becomes a ball in the food process, a complete ball, I know that I've overworked it. So here, and I'm not kneading it, I'm just, see how it's become one? That extra spoonful of the sour cream. Now, I want to make sure I get all of these bits. My trusty spatula. This is a really rich, Moorish pastry. Whoops. And you can see how simple it is. Right. Now, rings off. Now I'm on. Now, I do happen to have a marble bench, not because I'm a great baker, but because it came from a Metwurst factory 40 years ago. I am just going to form it, not into a circle, well, into a circle, but a flat circle, not a ball, because it's going to be much easier to work with if it's already in a circle shape and it's already flat. At this stage, just form with my hands like that. And can you see it just comes together? And now I will wrap it. I'll just take the excess off here. I'll wrap it in some paper and put it in the fridge for just 15 or 20 minutes. Now this, I have had people say to me that this is a pastry they could even roll out from this position now. But that's pushing it a little. But by putting it in for 15 or 20 minutes, it's not going to become so solid that it's hard to work with. You can do it a few hours in advance, but if you do that, you've got to bring it back to a pliable temperature before you try and roll it. In the fridge, it's going 15 to 20 minutes. 20 minutes in the fridge, so it's chilled but still pliable. We open it up. Now, the dish that I'm going to bake in is round, so I want to keep as much of a round character as I can. Rolling pins. Everyone has their favourite, but mine, I've had 40 years, I guess. It has ball bearings in it, so it rolls so easily. I think it's some people might say it's cheating. For me, it's absolutely necessary. Okay, now I'm going to keep the circle, and the big thing is it's really pliable. I can feel it coming very easily. I might flip it over, brush it. As I said, this is the pastry of the home cook, and you can be quite cavalier about it because it's so easy. Now I keep on trying to have that circle as much as I can. Now I like the pastry about 1/4 of an inch thick. Oh gosh, what's that? I need to put my glasses on. I try always to keep it the same level. Now it needs to be a little bit more. And of course, this is not how an experienced baker would do it. This is how everything I do as a cook, I've taught myself. And I know it works, so I just do it. And that's what I want you to do. Okay, now this I don't even bother spraying because it's a non-stick material. And there's so much butter in the pastry, it won't stick. Now, just to make it a little easier, easier, is try and sort of cut a bit of a circle wide enough. And the reason for doing this is the broken edges. See how these broken edges, they won't be a problem because you've done a nice cut. Now you don't have to, you could easily just pull the whole thing in. Oh, I didn't do that square. Okay, I'll talk about the bits left over later. So it's a rough circle. Put that aside. Is that 1/4 of an inch? To make sure I've got it, both sides are fine and are not going to stick. Oops. Okay. Just roll it over. Whoop. In fact, with a rolling pin if you like, or just with your hands. And you just put it in, let it collapse in as close to the edges as possible. Now, one of the reasons you want to do this, it eliminates much of the shrinking, because if there are air pockets there, it will shrink down to fill up. So go to a bit of trouble here. And because this, you can just mold it. So that way, I'm not even having to trim the tops. I want to really press this in. Whoops. Just keep on going back with your finger, pressing it in so we don't have air pockets. Now, I've never worried too much about shrinkage, but that's because I'm a haphazard cook. But you probably will. Now, if you want to trim it off, you can just do that with your rolling pin. I haven't always done that because it's given me some flexibility for when it shrinks, if it does. Now, at this stage, I put it into the freezer for a minimum of 2 hours, and possibly, when I can think about it, I do it overnight. And then I'm going to bring it out for you after that 2 hours in the freezer, and I'm going to show you how you blind bake, because blind baking is the way of having that perfect base. You don't want a soggy bottom. So I think we're just putting that aside. Because my freezer is in the laundry, I've got to go out and put it there. So I'll just put it to the side for a moment, and I'll show you what I do with the scraps. I never roll them up into a ball because I don't want to work them anymore. I just fold them over, and in not wasting them, but I would only ever use the leftover scraps for the base of something, the base of a small pie, perhaps. So I just form that. You see, so much sour cream and butter, it just forms a little circle, and I would cover that well and put it in the freezer for using another time.